guys. Welcome to the show. I want to have a talk about Deutsche Bank tonight. I was on today, and I watched the newest Greg Hunter show with Rob Kirby, and I got to hand it to Rob Kirby. He's on top of things. But here's the thing. He was talking about Deutsche Bank quite a little bit. And he was also talking about Morgan Stanley back during the financial crisis of 2008. How this kind of parallels the situation that Morgan Stanley was in back in the 2008 financial crisis. Now, the thing about it is the Exchange Stabilization Fund, they came in and they rescued the banks during the 2008 crisis. But we're in a little bit of a different situation here this time around. There was an awful lot of leeway back then to call upon enormous amounts of money without going into a hyperinflation situation. And of course, this is what they did. They quite literally, hundreds of billions of dollars were slung around like it was nothing during the last financial crisis. And also they were able to lower interest rates, and they were able to come in with quantitative easing and stimulus packages, and they were able to use the money of the Exchange Stabilization Fund effectively without bringing on a hyperinflation. One of the reasons why is because the crisis of 2008 had an awful lot of potential energy stored in it for deflation energy. And so they were able to do this, and they were able to basically extensively get away with it, actually, without bringing on a hyperinflation. All they did was they created a lot of fear of hyperinflation at the time, but the actual hyperinflation itself did not, it failed to materialize. We're in a different game now. This is a whole different game we're talking about now. For one thing, they've shot the interest rates down to the zero mark for 9 years or something like that. We've had zero interest rate policy. We've had negative interest rate policies. They're just barely getting the rates up now, just a little bit, just fractionally up. I mean, we're running on the bottom still, and we can't stand a financial crisis that would be worse than the 2008 financial crisis. It would bring the system down. Now, Morgan Stanley would have brought the system down, but they rescued her. The question is this, what happened with Morgan Stanley back then and what's happening with Deutsche Bank kind of parallels. It also parallels Lehman Brothers. And it's starting to look more and more like Deutsche Bank is in big, big trouble. I mean, really seriously big trouble. Now, when these institutions like Deutsche Bank fail, when they finally go down, they remind me of these big ships, kind of like the Titanic. Did you know that the Titanic, when it was first sinking, it took hours and hours. They take hours and hours, and the ship doesn't even list. It's still floating nice. And people on board, they think there's nothing wrong. But the people down below that can see the compartments filling up with water, they know something seriously wrong. At a certain point, the ship starts to list. It starts to tilt a little bit to one side, the side that's filling up with water. Then the people on deck say, hey, what's wrong? Something's happening here. Something's not quite right. Well, that's what's happening with the economy right now. She's starting to list. But when it finally goes down, when everything goes down, sinks, it's the same way with these banking institutions. They sink rather fast. So it's a long time getting down to a certain point, and then all of a sudden, boom, it sinks. And that's the way with Deutsche Bank. It's been going down, down, down. Like, I'm falling forever, it seems. It's reached a certain point now at under $10, US $10 per share. I think, personally, I'm going to give you the mark. $6. $6 or maybe $7. It's dead. It gets down to that. About $6 or $7 a share. It's dead. The panic will begin at that point. And let's face it, I mean, we were like $17 not long ago, or $20 not long ago. And now we're only at $9.80. We're sliding on our way to hell. with Deutsche Bank. And I don't really see anybody who's going to stop this fall. Who's going to sacrifice themselves and throw themselves off in front of Deutsche Bank and save Deutsche Bank? Is the Exchange Stabilization Fund actually going to do that, like they did Morgan Stanley? Well, let's just take a look at the situation here. For one, do you remember that photo that came out not long ago with Trump sitting across the table from the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel? I'm going to tell you that photo is right on the money. Right now, relations are on the surface. They say they're great. Everything's great. Oh, everything's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But behind the scenes, there's a trade war going on. There's a massive war going on here. And Deutsche Bank is on one side of this war, and the United States is on the other side of this war. And this is why they fined Deutsche Bank not long ago. The U.S. Oh, I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of the name of the agency. Was it the Revenue? No, one of the agencies anyway in the United States just not long ago hit Deutsche Bank with huge fines and huge penalties. And I don't think they're going to use the Exchange Stabilization Fund to try to rescue Deutsche Bank. Now, is Germany going to rescue her? This is the question. Is Germany going to rescue Deutsche Bank? And my answer to that is I don't think Germany's going to rescue her because it would just basically kill Germany, practically. I mean, I think Germany could rescue Deutsche Bank, but what would that do to the German economy? And who's going to put their neck out and say, okay, we're going to rescue Deutsche Bank and sacrifice the German economy for Deutsche Bank? I don't think any politician in their right mind would do that, including Angela Merkel. But I don't think Angela Merkel's got much time left in Germany, does she, as a politician? Who's going to step in next and who's going to put their neck on the line to save Deutsche Bank? It might be the end of their political career. If Deutsche Bank goes down now, she's got a $55 trillion nominal derivatives book. Those derivatives are like tentacles. They stretch out far and wide into the financial system, and you don't know where they're going to touch. They might touch places in the United States, like certain businesses and things that you own might be connected into Deutsche Bank's derivatives book. And so we might see if Deutsche Bank goes down, we might see other collateral damage within the financial system that we don't know about now, because we can't tell who has exposure to these derivatives and who doesn't, and how far reaching this would be, the derivatives book of Deutsche Bank. I'm thinking it's probably between $50 and $100 billion once you take the derivatives and you basically derivatives cancel each other out. So it's 55 trillion, but once you cancel everything out, it's probably about 55 billion left of serious money, but still that's a lot of money. And when it starts to come up against shove, who's going to take that loss and who else might go under? And who else is connected to them that might go under? So what you start is a chain reaction within the structure of the derivative system. It's called a derivatives meltdown. This whole thing might start a chain reaction that's very hard to stop once Deutsche Bank starts going down. Cause panic within the financial system itself. Cause panic within the markets. And we could be on the doorstep of this. Like I say, I don't see Deutsche Bank going back up again. I think they're on their death spiral right now. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think they're on their death spiral. I think that in that discussion that Kirby had with Greg Hunter this morning, I think that it reflected that in his viewpoints, that he thinks they're on their death spiral as well. I think that an awful lot of other people, I'm not the only one that thinks that Deutsche Bank is on their death spiral. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. They've been sinking, slowly sinking for ages. But I think they're finally getting to the point where they're going to slide off. And I think it's going to be big news. Now, I'm getting the news out here, and it's not big news just yet. It's on my channel, but it's not big news other places just yet. So I'm getting the story out a little bit ahead of time for you guys. Prepare yourselves. This might be a black swan to the financial system. Now, I want to talk about something else too, just for a second before I go. This is the end of this episode. I want to talk about a good friend of mine is starting a YouTube channel. And anyway, I'm going to put the link in the description. And do you guys like ASMR? If you don't know what it is it's a just let me put it in and get the definition of ASMR here. And I'll tell you what it is. Autonomy sensory meridian response. It's an experience characterized by a static-like tingling sensation on the skin that typically begins on the scalp, moves down the back of the neck and upper spine. Now, I know what it is because I am sensitive to ASMR, and I like it. It feels good. It feels like you're getting your back rubbed or something, you know, or your head rubbed, or your hair combed, you know. And in fact, things like that can trigger ASMR. So what these ASMR artists do is they try to trigger that response in you by wearing headphones. You got to wear headphones when you watch ASMR. And anyway, this friend of mine, she's going to do some ASMR. She created a channel, and I'm going to put the link in the description. And anyway, she's going to probably be doing a video every week, or maybe 2 a week or something. I don't know how many she's going to do right off the get-go. But head over there and sub her channel. I mean, it doesn't cost nothing to sub her channel. And hit the little bell icon, and you'll get updates whenever she's putting up a new video. And listen, I appreciate that. And thank you guys very much for subbing to my channel. I try to keep you guys up to date with all the latest financial news. That's it for now. Bye-bye, guys.